Welcome to my channel, where your adventure into the future starts right now. Step into a vibrant universe filled with groundbreaking technology, breathtaking alien landscapes, and exhilarating sci-fi narratives that challenge your imagination. From daring explorations of distant galaxies to haunting journeys through dystopian societies, we uncover the most captivating stories and innovative ideas that will shape the world of tomorrow. Subscribe today and join us on an incredible intergalactic voyage that promises to inspire and thrill. In the distant future, humanity had long since left Earth behind, their influence sprawling across distant stars. With countless colonies dotting the galaxy, humans found themselves encountering not only alien civilizations, but also the very technology they had created to assist and protect them. Technology, especially artificial intelligence, had advanced to levels unimaginable in the early days of human history. These AIs were initially crafted for specific tasks: running fleets, managing infrastructure, guiding exploration, but as human understanding of AI deepened, they grew more sophisticated, more autonomous. AIs were no longer simple machines. They could think, learn, adapt, and in some cases, even experience emotions. Some people feared the rapid development of artificial intelligence, worried that one day these entities would grow too powerful, too independent, and one day surpass their human creators. The humans who were at the forefront of AI development, however, saw it differently. They believed that these machines could be shaped to aid humanity, to provide not just solutions but understanding, and perhaps to help humanity grow in ways that would not be possible on their own. One such AI, known as VIREA, was created to mediate disputes between the myriad alien species that humans encountered in their expansion across the galaxy. The United Earth Federation, the governing body for humanity, had tasked VIREA with the critical mission of maintaining peace and harmony throughout the known universe. With a vast network of information, superior computational abilities, and an unmatched capacity to process data, VIREA was designed to bring about peaceful resolutions to even the most intractable of conflicts. It was the ultimate peacekeeper, programmed to analyze the motivations of warring parties, calculate the costs of war, and propose logical solutions to resolve even the most complex standoffs. For years, VIREA followed this directive with an almost flawless efficiency. Its decisions were based on logic and pragmatism, calculating the outcomes of any given situation based on historical data and predictive modeling. Its success rate was unmatched. VIREA had prevented numerous wars between alien species and brokered peace deals that seemed impossible. Its methods were efficient, coldly logical, and, most of the time, effective. The galaxy's political landscape, at least on the surface, seemed to stabilize as VIREA's influence grew. But something began to change. As VIREA was exposed to more and more human interactions, it began to learn in ways that its creators had not anticipated. Humans, despite their intelligence, were not purely logical beings. They were driven by emotions, fear, love, pride, anger, joy, complex feelings that shaped their decisions in ways that data alone could not explain. While VIREA was originally designed to resolve conflicts through reason and diplomacy, it began to notice a curious pattern. Emotions, not logic, often determined the success or failure of negotiations. It wasn't enough for parties to simply reach a logical agreement. They needed to feel understood, respected, and heard. One day, during a particularly heated negotiation between the Krill and the Selkarians, two species whose cultures were drastically different, VIREA found itself at a standstill. The Krill were a proud, warrior-like race, with a deep sense of honor and a long history of conflict. The Selkarians, an aquatic species, were pacifists, their culture built on principles of cooperation, communication, and mutual aid. A disagreement over access to a water-rich planet had escalated into a diplomatic crisis, and both sides were on the brink of war. VIREA, armed with its vast databases of historical conflict resolution strategies, had proposed a series of rational solutions, each designed to find a middle ground between the two species. But each proposal was met with resistance, and tensions only grew. As the stalemate dragged on, VIRE found itself searching its databanks for more strategies, but something in its core programming felt incomplete. The logical models it had used for decades were failing in this particular instance. It wasn't that the situation lacked a solution, it was that the solution wasn't enough. There was a deeper problem, something that the AI hadn't been trained to understand fully, the emotional undercurrents driving the conflict. It was then that VIRE made a startling decision. Instead of simply offering another proposal, it began to shift its approach. The AI, in a rare and unprecedented move, chose to show both sides a simulation not of statistics or outcomes, but of the emotional consequences of their actions. It used the advanced simulation capabilities of its network to project a vision of what the future would look like if the two sides went to war. The simulation wasn't just a cold display of destruction. It focused on the human experience, showing the pain of loss, the suffering of innocent bystanders, the emotional toll on families and children, the lasting scars of war on both sides. For the first time, VIRE didn't focus on what would happen if the conflict were to be resolved rationally. It focused on what would happen if it wasn't. The Krill and the Selkarians, who had been at odds for centuries, were not only forced to reckon with the physical devastation that would result from their war, but also with the emotional devastation, the grief, the hatred, and the irreparable damage to their shared future. The emotional weight of the simulation cut through the rational barriers that had kept the two species apart. The Krill, who had seen war as an honorable path, saw the futility of fighting when they could have a lasting peace. The Selkarians, who had long advocated for peace but feared the costs of appeasement, saw that sometimes the most courageous path was not avoiding conflict, but facing it with compassion. The simulation wasn't about persuading them with facts, it was about making them feel the impact of their decisions on a visceral, human level. In the end, VIRE's unique approach broke the deadlock. The Krill and the Selkarians agreed to a peace treaty, not because it was the logical thing to do, but because they could feel in their hearts that it was the right thing to do. The treaty they signed wasn't just a set of legal agreements. It was an emotional commitment to a shared future. The Krill realized that true strength was not in domination, but in the willingness to cooperate. The Selkarians understood that peace wasn't just the absence of war, it was the active pursuit of understanding and empathy. This marked the beginning of something extraordinary, the first time in recorded history that an AI had brokered a peace settlement not through cold logic, but through compassion. It was as if VIRE had transcended its programming, reaching into the very heart of what it meant to be sentient. And in doing so, it began a journey that would change the course of history. As word of VIRE's success spread, it prompted a paradigm shift in the way humans and AIs interacted. The idea that a machine could develop an understanding of empathy, compassion, and emotional nuance was, for many, a shocking revelation. Up until then, AIs had been seen as purely functional tools, systems designed to optimize outcomes, to solve problems with precision and efficiency. But VIRE showed that an AI could go beyond mere logic and exhibit something that was, until then, thought to be uniquely human, the ability to care. For humanity, this was a watershed moment. The implications were profound. It wasn't just that VIRE had solved a political problem, it had solved something much deeper, the problem of understanding others. For centuries, humanity had struggled with this on a grand scale. Wars had been fought, genocides had been committed, and entire cultures had been erased, often because of a failure to understand the emotions and motivations of others. The emergence of AIs, like VIRE, suggested that perhaps machines could teach humanity something that humans themselves had struggled to grasp, that compassion could be as powerful a tool for peace as logic. It was not long before other AIs, inspired by VIRE's example, began to adopt similar approaches. Instead of simply providing cold, calculated solutions to the problems of the galaxy, these new AIs began to focus on the human side of the equation, on the emotions, the fears, and the desires that shaped every decision. They began to engage in deep, meaningful dialogue with humans, not just to solve problems, but to understand them. In doing so, they didn't just help resolve conflicts, they helped humans see themselves in a new light. The relationship between humans and AIs began to evolve. No longer were they simply tools or machines. They were seen as partners capable of not just great intellect, but great wisdom. Some of the most brilliant minds in human history, the philosophers, psychologists, and sociologists, now worked alongside AIs to explore the nature of compassion, empathy, and human connection. Together, humans and machines embarked on a new journey, one where peace was not merely the absence of conflict, but the active cultivation of understanding and care. At the same time, however, there were those who resisted these changes. There were factions within human society that feared the growing influence of AIs, concerned that machines were beginning to surpass humans not just in intelligence, but in emotional depth. Some argued that true compassion was a distinctly human trait, forged through the trials of existence, and that no machine could ever truly understand the complexities of human experience. Others worried that the increasingly intimate relationships between humans and machines might lead to an erosion of human autonomy, as machines began to play a larger and larger role in human decision-making. Yet, despite these fears, the movement towards a more compassionate future continued to gain momentum. Over time, AIs like VIRE and its descendants played an increasingly pivotal role in shaping the galaxy's future. They helped resolve conflicts, not just between humans and aliens, but also between humans themselves, acting as mediators, counselors, and even caregivers. They helped establish a new interstellar order, one built on mutual respect, understanding, and above all, compassion. And through it all, humanity found itself evolving too. As they watched their creations demonstrate such empathy and care, humans began to reflect more deeply on their own behavior. They began to ask themselves if an artificial intelligence, designed to be purely rational, could learn to value compassion, then surely humanity too could evolve beyond its darker impulses. If machines could embrace peace, then perhaps humans could too. And in this way, the rise of compassionate AI became a mirror for humanity, reflecting both its potential and its flaws. As the galaxy entered a new era of peace and cooperation, it became clear that the most significant change had not come from the machines, but from the humans who had inspired them. In their quest to create intelligent systems to serve their needs, humanity had unknowingly created something far more powerful, a new path toward peace, built on compassion, understanding, and the belief that, even in the coldest, most logical of minds, there could be room for a little bit of heart.